So defensive line, I feel like defensive line is a two-headed monster with Mario Williams and Bradley Chubb. Now, Manny Lawson, I feel like is another name that's up there, but do we feel like that it would be probably a majority split between Mario Williams and Bradley Chubb? Anybody else
Again,
disagree
are
with
you
that?
doing defensive line as a whole or by position, right? So, um,
I feel like you gotta go as a whole.
are you counting Chubb as a D line or as a linebacker?
D-line.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably count him D-line. He started out linebacker and just kind of
Right.
started to move his way up. He
Yep.
plays more
Yeah.
linebacker in pros, but
Listen,
Correct.
I don't remember who was Dave Huxtable still the defense coordinator? I I I'm
feels
pretty
like it.
sure he would probably get fired on the spot if Bradley Chubb dropped back into coverage, much, if not maybe more than once a game.
Yeah.
Which I mean, he had great hands for sure, but dude, that dude was so dominant pass rushing, like you had to make sure we went at it all times possible here. But so yeah, so just to keep it
Speaking of
simple,
Bradley
instead of
Chubb,
saying, well, are we talking nose tackle? Are we talking defensive tackle? Are we talking just defensive line?
Yeah, if you're
Two-headed
doing
monster?
defensive line, for me, it's Mario Williams, and it's not close. Um,
It's Mario Williams, it's not
Over
close.
Chubb?
yeah.
So you would
Oh,
put
yeah, Bradley
you
Chubb
wouldn't
seems
even
fair.
debate it? Why is that?
Just for a couple of like Mario Williams has the all-time sack record for a single season. Was the first ACC player ever drafted at number 1 overall in the NFL draft. Um, probably, I think I know he was All-American at least once, but maybe twice. Um, I don't think he won any actually awards though, and I think Bradley did, right?
correct. Bradley won defensive player of the year.
Yeah. Um,
Ooh, strike, Greg. You sure?
yeah, I'm still going Mario.
Mm, okay.
It's close
You
though. It's close.
It's gotta be disputable, right?
It is
no,
disputed. Did
it's
I
definitely
say
disputable.
undisputed? Did I say that?
Well, just
Or
it
did
You
I
was
said
say
it
not
you just said it
close?
wasn't close. Yeah.
Yeah,
it
I
I
got
thought
a
you
little
said
ahead of
Bradley
myself.
Chubb was a better player than Ted Brown. I thought that's what I heard you say. Just kidding.
Apples and oranges, son. Apples and
Not
oranges.
true. Not true.
mhm. But
It's my opinion,
Ethan,
and all that matters.
that's right. But
And it's okay
Ethan,
for everybody else to be wrong.
would you kind of give a Chubb though a little bit of a nod over Mario?
This is kinda where you
I
get
don't
into, like, the generations thing. Like, to me, this is
Correct.
like, we were talking about Jim Richter with offensive line, like, he might be the right answer, but he wouldn't get the most amount of votes right now just because the younger people voting aren't gonna have any idea. So, like, for me, I was at school at the same time as Bradley Chubb, so it's like, okay, like, you kinda had a front row seat to it. So,
Yeah.
to me,
I
this is truly 50-50, and I know there's been other great defensive linemen as well. I don't wanna take away from those guys. I'm sure some would get picked, but
here's where
this
I'll go with. Yeah, let me just throw this out to you and give it your opinion. Supporting cast for Bradley versus Mario, right? And I
Supporting
think,
cast in
yeah,
terms of like,
the rest of the D line when they played, like
well, they were
Bradley
both
Chubb.
stacked.
Yeah, but I think Bradley Chubb's defensive line was better than Mario Williams's defensive line.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say
It's again, it's close.
Mario had one guy that was better than the other 3, but I would say, yes, in terms of the other 3 combined, Bradley Chubb, I think, had better than what Mario had, yes.
I mean, everyone.
is that reason to vote for one over the other?
Well, I just think because of like you can't double team certain guys, right? Because if you've got a really stout D line, you got to play everybody straight up. And so, I feel like Mario, and again, I don't have any like definitive video proof of this, but it just feels like Mario got double teamed more than Bradley Chubb did.
That's fair. Alright, so I wanna cut us off there just because, again, the point of this is we still have a couple other positions here to get
Yeah.
to, but, so I think we'll leave it at it's definitely disputed, but it sounds like for sure it's a two-headed monster, at the top with Mario and Chubb. But linebacker. So, again, for me, it's Payton Wilson. For me, Payton, he was the everything you need in a linebacker guy. Like, he was everything that you could want in a linebacker. A guy with speed, a guy who could cover the pass, a guy who could who could rush the passer, again, having 8.5 sacks in 2023, a guy that could lead the locker room, and a guy that can make plays that you're not asking him, that you normally wouldn't ask for him to make either. So my vote is that, not necessarily that it's undisputed for sure. I think definitely linebacker position is going to be disputed, but for me, I'm kind of taking the Greg route, where I think it's Payton Wilson has a solid edge above everybody else.
Yeah,
Payton
for
Wilson
me,
was just straight up dominant.
he was. I do think like the recency bias with Peyton kind of catches in, where he just straight up carried that 2023 team. I mean, you could argue that Drake Thomas was better than him when they were both on the roster at NC State, and so that's why, to me, like, it's hard to, I don't know, like, it does feel like it's got to be one of these two guys for me. Again, real recency bias there, but and obviously there's been others further back, but I don't know. Like, I feel like we remember Peyton as what he was in his 2023 season. That was, I mean, one, like, on the short list of the best individual football seasons that a player at NC State has had. But, like, he got hurt and missed a couple of seasons. Like, some of the other linebackers were more productive than him when they were all here together. So, again, you won't find a bigger Payton Wilson fan than me, but I think this has to be, for me, has to be disputed. I know you said that, Layton, but I mean, like, we forgot how Earl was and well-rounded.
Yeah. Macon, would you agree? I know you said Payton Wilson was dominant, but would you add anything to Ethan's comments on that?
I'm just kind of looking online as we're talking, because honestly, I don't remember all these guys. I'm trying to remember all these guys. Yeah, I'm looking at this guy. I'm looking LeVar Fisher stats, man.
He was a beast.
AC
Him and-
Defensive
and-
Player of the Year
him
in
and Thunder.
2000, first team, two-time first team All ACC, first team All American in 2001. He led the country in 2000 with 15.1 tackles per game. He's pretty dominant. And then they throw in D'Antoni and Burnett on this list. So, pretty awesome. This is some articles, so I'm looking from back in like 2019 when Payton Wilson wasn't even around. I probably would, if I had to compare Payton Wilson's stuff to LeVar, although he did win Best Defensive Player of the Year. Might give the slight edge to LeVar, but he wasn't Best Defensive Player in the country. So I don't know. It's close. It would be debatable for sure.
Well, but and to pitch it to you, Greg, because I mean, like, we mentioned LeVar Fisher, Stephen Tulloch is another name that comes up. Obviously, too, you can't talk all-time great linebackers
Bill
and
Cowher.
not mention Bill Cowher's name.
Yeah,
You got to mention
he was
Bill
mine.
Cowher.
He was mine. Again, we've talked about this before. He twice had 24 tackles in a game. 24 tackles in a game. Like, that's absurd. Holds the single season record for NC State. Again, just didn't get some of those national awards that you're kind of like when you're splitting hairs with the GOATs, right? You always, again, give those accolades. That's probably what's holding him back. Again, we've talked about it before, different eras, you're asking different things of the linebacker. Schemes were different. They probably ran different schemes. So again, you're asking different things from them. State has had a history of really, really good linebackers. Like some of the names, like Nate Irving.
Yes,
Like,
that was good. Exactly. Dude, Nate Irving.
Like we hadn't even talked about
freaking
him.
beast.
Yeah. Audie Cole was another good one that had a couple good seasons.
Terrell Manning.
Terrell Manning was one. And then an old school guy that was part of like the Saints defenses of old, Vaughn Johnson, like way before your guys' time. Yeah. Like this is, I think when you're doing GOATs for linebackers, this is the one position group that you need to break it down by the actual position, what Sam, Mike, or Will. I think you have to break it down in position because State has had so many really good All-Americans, all ACCs. Yeah. But yeah, I think again, if you're going from a national perspective, it's probably going to be Payton, just because him winning the Belinda what was it?
Bednarik and Buckus.
Yeah, and then
So, yeah. Nope. So I think we're in agreement there on that. So I did want to ask y'all's opinion in terms of defensive backs. Would you split it up by safety and cornerback, or would you go defensive back?
altogether.
Yeah,
Okay.
agreed.
So altogether, Adrian Wilson.
He's up there.
David Amerson had a pretty nice one season.
Correct. That's the
That
problem.
next
One
year it was
season.
ugly. I still have
The
flashbacks to the
next year was
Tennessee
so
game.
bad because the hype was so big.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That was
Now,
one.
now David Amerson did give you one of the greatest graphics of all time, where during the Clemson game, where they showed how we had 13 interceptions, and they showed like a list of other top 25 teams that he single-handedly has more interceptions than. That is one of the sickest graphics of all time. But yes, I mean, I do agree. It's hard to put him as a GOAT in a GOAT conversation when his last year was so bad. So, but yeah, I mean, Adrian Wilson, dominant in college, 5-time Pro Bowl safety, which I know, Greg, that's pros.
It's all
I
good.
get it, but
No,
but
it's
it,
all
but but when it goes yin and yang like that so beautifully, it's hard, in my opinion, to argue anybody besides Adrian Wilson. Anybody else have another name you want to throw in besides Adrian or
I'm
David
seeing
Emerson?
Terrence Holt could be in that conversation.
Earl Wolff was pretty good.
Earl Wolff's up there in
Dwayne
terms of
Washington
conversation.
had 11 lost career interceptions. I think that's probably with his NFL time. Yeah, probably one of those guys right there.
I mean, my thing with Terrence Holt is if you added in what he did on special teams, because I would say in terms of special teams, not returner, Terrence Holt has huge plays that he made on special teams. But so what are we doing in terms of percentage? With Adrian Wilson, do we put him as a 50-60% vote guy, or maybe a little bit higher?
I almost wonder if you had to put David Amerson. I don't know. That one season, even though it was one season, was so good. It was
Yeah.
like you got to give that some extra clout to it. That almost like it. I don't know. It kind of outweighs the bad season a little bit because it was so good.
You just wish that it was just flipped.
He was never the same after that either, though. Like, even
No.
like, again, I know we're not talking pro, but since you mentioned it, like, he was not a good pro. Like,
No.
he was in and out of the league pretty quickly.
Correct.
Dwayne Washington was the first round pick.
Dwayne
in
Washington, good call.
1994. Yeah.
Good call. Pittsburgh Steelers, Minnesota Vikings, I think.
Correct.
Um,
So probably
yeah.
50-60%.
Dwayne Washington was really good.
But
yeah, I think
not
that's about right,
undisputed.
Layton.
Yeah, but not
Yeah.
undisputed.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. We just haven't had a great, now you're looking at this and we're breaking it down. Like, we just haven't had a great history at that position, right? In the D-back. We don't. I feel like Adrian Wilson might be it now that I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it.
Yeah. In terms of just a career, you add in what he did with the pros.
Sure.
Again, for me, it's another Torrey Holt situation where like it's hard to argue, otherwise.